And here I just want to give you a close-up of the bear, and this is what it looks like from behind. And the legs move. Oop. And then so do the arms, up and down. And here we have the magnet. So the arms have magnets on them. And then here's the heart with the gift card that the bear holds. Okay, so the materials you're going to need for this project are your J crochet hook or 6mm crochet hook. And if you want to do the flower, I used and the heart, not the flower, the heart, I used the 9mm or N crochet hook. And of course, the tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. You're also going to need, if you want to use magnets, I used, in the craft store, you can get some magnets. And this one, just show you one of them. So here's a magnet, and it has this back piece that goes on there to hold it in place. And then you just fold the tabs down. And then the other side clicks in. And you can see on the bear how I put them on. And they're pretty good. You still have to be careful, because if it does come off, it would be a choking hazard. So just make sure that it's age appropriate for the gift that you're giving or keeping for yourself. And then here, you can see how it stays pretty well the way that I sewed it in, and I'll be showing you how I did that. But still, again, even though I was able to sew it in, you still have to be careful because it could be a choking hazard. So again, I have the magnets that I used. The yarn that I used was the white 100% cotton yarn by Sugar and Cream. And I also used Bernat baby coordinates for the pretty yarn that I used. This also is good for making the baby blanket pattern that I made, or video that I made. And then here is the other yarn. Now this is the His Jeans color, which has a really pretty purple. And this color is Garden Baby. So this color with the pinks in it is Garden Baby. And for the pink heart and flower that I used a really soft pink baby yarn. So you can use any soft pink baby yarn, and I think this is Bernat. The eyes that I used are the Suncatcher craft eyes, and they're the 20mm, which is the same eye that I used for my Crochet German Shepherd. I'm going to start by making the snout, so I'm using my light purple color. And I'm also taking my 100% cotton white yarn, and I'm putting them together. We're going to start with a magic circle. So you're just going to drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap it around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. And then take your J or 6mm crochet hook, go under those loops around the middle fingers, and then you're going to bring up a loop. And then you're going to do your slip knot. So you're going to yarn over both yarns, turn the hook upside down, and then go through that loop for your slip knot. Now you're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over both yarns and go through both loops for a single crochet. And you're going to do 6 of these. And then after you have 6 single crochet into your magic circle. You're going to take your forefinger and your thumb and hold it at the base. And then you're going to have 4 yarn strands on the opposite end of the magic circle. You're going to pull on 2 of them and see if it'll close. If it closes, go ahead and keep pulling on it. If not, let go and pull on the other 2. But this is closing, so I'm just going to pull it until I've closed it. And then take your loose yarn ends, both of them, and pull on those to finish closing. If it's not completely closed, don't worry, because we can close it more later. And now you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch around. So you're going to go into that first stitch, and then you're going to bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're going to go in the same stitch and do another single crochet. And then you're going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 12. And now this is my 10th. And then my last 2 in the last stitch will bring me to a total of 12. And then you can take your work and turn it over and then just pull in those 2 loose yarn ends to finish closing the magic circle. Now you're going to need a yarn marker. I'm just going to use one of my loose yarn scraps and just place it right where I left off. And now you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch around. So just 1 single crochet into every stitch around, and do that for 3 rows, and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. You should have finished 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the next stitch. So you're going to take your crochet hook, go into that next stitch, and you're going to yarn over both yarns and pull both yarns through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Now you're going to finish off. You're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. Now you're going to take your animal nose and just place it on the snout, and I put mine on right here's the center of your magic circle that you closed, and I just put the point of the animal nose right above it, and then you can do your safety latch on the inside, and then you have your nose on your snout. Now we're going to start on the head. For the head, you're going to start the same way with your magic circle. And I'm still using my J crochet hook. So I'm just going to do it the same way that we did for the snout. We're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to close the magic circle the same way that I did for the snout. That one's not closing, so I'm going to let go and grab on the other 2. And now it's closing. And the exact same thing, I'm going to do 2 single crochet into every stitch. For a total of 12. And I'm just going to turn my work over and pull on the loose yarn ends. And now you're going to need your yarn marker for your increase rounds. So for the increase rounds, you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then in the second stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. 1, 2. So go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker and then come back. When you get back to your yarn marker, go ahead and take it and move it up to where you left off. And we're going to do another increase round. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then in the third stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochet in the same stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. All right, so now this is our last increase round. You're just going to do 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And then in the fourth stitch, you're going to do 2 single crochet. 1, 2. And then repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you're going to go ahead and move your yarn marker up and go ahead and do 1 single crochet into every stitch for 6 rows and then come back. So 1 single crochet into every stitch for 6 rows. All right, so you should have finished 6 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you can turn your work over and we're going to be sewing on the snout as well as placing your eyes. And if you like how my eyes are placed, then I went starting from the center of the top of the head in the magic circle. You go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So between the 5th and the 6th, I put the eyes on, and there are 3 stitches in between the eyes. And then on the back, you can see what the safety latches look like. And they don't come, once you put those on, they don't come off. To sew the snout on, I just took some yarn, and I'm using the 100% cotton white yarn in my tapestry needle. And the first place you're going to sew is along the bottom. So I'm just going to go from the inside up into the snout and just leave enough yarn on the inside to tie a knot, and then just sew your snout on. Yep. Try to go in there. And you can tie a knot. And then once you've sewn the bottom part of the snout to the head, then you can sew the top part of the snout. So then you just make sure that your snout is lined up, and then just go back in. And then you're going to come out on the top portion. Just make sure you don't get all tangled up. And then you're just going to come out, make sure that your snout is positioned where you want it, and then come up along the top and then you're just going to sew the snout on the top portion, and then you can sew the sides. You should have your snout sewn on now. So now we're going to go ahead and close the head. Go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up to where you left off, and we're going to start doing decrease rounds. So for the first decrease round, you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do our decrease stitch. So you're going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, and then you're going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through all 3 for a decrease stitch, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up to where you left off, and you're going to do another decrease round. You're going to do 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then you're going to do your decrease stitch. You're going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for your decrease stitch. So go ahead and repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you can go ahead and stuff the head with pillow stuffing or whatever stuffing you're using, and then go ahead and take your yarn marker and move it up for another decrease round. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then you're going to do a decrease stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. Now you can go ahead and take out your yarn marker, and we're going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch. So just go into the next stitch. You're going to yarn over both yarns and pull them through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Then we're going to finish off, just yarn over and then pull the yarn through. Just pull enough yarn to bury into your work. And now we're going to make the ears. For the ears, I'm using this beautiful yarn. And I'm just going to take it and use it the same way I did with my other yarn for the head. You're just going to take your white 100% cotton and combine it with that yarn for the ears. And we're going to start with the magic circle. So you're going to drape it across your 4 fingers. Use your thumb to stabilize, and then drape it around your 2 middle fingers twice. And then hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Take your crochet hook. I'm still using my J crochet hook. Go under those loops. Bring up a loop with both yarns. And then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through those loops for a slip knot. And now we're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and go through both for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then take your forefinger and thumb and just go to the base of those 6 single crochet and then pull on 2 of the strands. If it doesn't close, remember, just pull on the other. And then take those loose yarn ends and pull on those. And now, instead of going across to like we usually do, we're going to stay on the same side and we're going to chain 1. So yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for chain 1. And then you're going to turn your work. And then we're going to do a single crochet into the same stitch. So right here, you're going to go into the same stitch and do another single crochet. And then you're going to go into the next stitch and do 2 single crochet. 1, 2, and then go into the next stitch and do 2 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and the next stitch, 2 single crochet, and then in the last stitch we're going to do, see how many single crochet we'll do in that one. Just do 1 single crochet in that last stitch because we want this side to be flat for the ear, and you can pull on the loose yarn ends for the center of the magic circle to completely close the center. And you can see how you're getting a flat end and then a curve for the ear. Now you're going to chain 1 and then turn your work. And now you're not going to work in the base the same stitch. You're going to go into the next stitch over. So you're not going here. You're going to go to the next stitch over. You're going to do 1 single crochet. And then you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch back across. Okay, and then we have 1 stitch left. And this is how your work should look. You have a nice curve for the ear. So now we can go ahead and finish off. So you just yarn over and then pull enough yarn to bury into your work. Now you just need to make 4 total of this same design for the ear. So go ahead and make 4 of these and then come back. Now you should have 4 pieces made for the ears. You're just going to take 2 of them for now. And we're going to take and put the 2 pieces together. You're going to get your same color that you had for the head. And you're going to take your crochet hook, and I still have my J or 6mm crochet hook, and you're going to go into that first stitch through both ears. So you can see how I went through the first stitch on both ears. And then I'm going to hook the yarn, the new yarn. Just hook it and bring it through. Leave enough yarn so you can tie a knot. And then you're going to chain 1. And then take and tie a knot to one of the loose yarn strands. And then you're just going to take and do a single crochet into every stitch. Sewing the 2 pieces together, actually crocheting the 2 pieces together with the single crochet. So you go into the next stitch and you're just doing 1 single crochet into every stitch. And then here I have my last stitch. Now I'm going to yarn over for a finish off, and I'm going to pull enough yarn to sew the ear onto the head. Now you're just going to take all of your loose yarn ends and just tuck them into the inside of the ear. And then we're going to sew the ear onto the head. Alright, so your ears, you can go ahead and sew your ears on. I'm just going to show you how I placed my ears. And then you just take your tapestry needle and then sew them in place just like you did your snout. So here is the center of the top of the head. And I just went one stitch over on both sides to sew the ears on. And then here you can see from this eye I went over 1, 2, 3, 4. And the same thing on this side. And then you're going to start making your body, and you're going to make the body the same way that you did the head. Instead of 6 rows of single crochet, you're going to do 8 rows of single crochet, and then come back, and then we'll sew the head onto the body. Alright, so you should have started the body the same way that you did for the head, except you finished 8 rows of single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I decided that I wanted to do the pink color the same as the ears for the body. And now you're going to go ahead and stuff the body as you close. Go ahead and move your yarn marker up to where you left off. And you're going to do the decrease rounds the same way. So go ahead and do your decrease rounds. I'm going to start you out with the first one. You're going to start with 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then you're going to do a decrease stitch just like you did for the head. So go ahead and decrease, do this same pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker, and then you're going to do 1 single crochet into 2 stitches with the decrease, and then 1 stitch with the decrease, and then come back and I'll show you how to close the body. So your work should look like this. And now we're going to go ahead and decrease until closed and then slip stitch it closed. So you can go ahead and take your yarn marker and remove it, and then go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, and then go through all 3 for a decrease, and you're just going to decrease around until you can't decrease anymore, and then we'll start doing slip stitches to close it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing slip stitches. So what you're going to do, make sure that the body is stuffed how you like it, and then you're just going to skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, then you're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And you're just going to slip stitch all the way around until you've closed the body. And do one more, should do it. And then you're going to yarn over to finish off. Just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And now you're going to go ahead and get some yarn to sew the head onto the body. Before we sew the head onto the body, go ahead and take your loose yarn ends and your tapestry needle and just bury it into your work. You can come out anywhere on the body with your tapestry needle. And then just cut your loose yarn ends. And as far as the one on the head, you can just kind of stuff that in to the head. And then just get your tapestry needle with some yarn. And then you're just going to take and sew the head onto the body. Just go into the body and come out through the head. And make sure you leave enough yarn to bury into your work. And then if you go up through the head, go into the head again and into the body. And just come out on the body anywhere along the top. And then just sew the head to the body. Just keep going. I went out on the body, so I'm going to go into the body and then up through the head. And you're just going to keep going around, sewing the head to the body until the head is completely sewn onto the body, and then come back and we'll do the arms and legs. Now for the arms, I'm going to start with the paws, and I'm going to use my purplish colored yarn. I'm going to start with a magic circle. Just drape the yarn around your two middle fingers and then hold it in place with your pinky and thumb, and then take your crochet hook and put it under the loops. Go ahead and bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for a slip knot. Now you're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Now take your forefinger and thumb and just hold it at the base of the 6 single crochet, and then you're going to close the magic circle like we did before. Now we're going to do 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch, one single crochet into the third stitch, 2 single crochet into the fourth stitch, one single crochet into the fifth stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the sixth stitch. Now you can go ahead and close the center of the magic circle. And now you're going to need your yarn marker. Go ahead and place it right where you left off. And you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch for 3 rows, and then come back. Okay, so you should have finished the 3 rows. Now we're going to go ahead and cut the colored yarn that you were using. Leave enough to bury into your work. And then just tie a knot. And now just going to go into the next stitch and bring up a loop. So now you have the 2 looped with the colored yarn and the cotton yarn, and then 1 loop with just the cotton yarn. You're going to take your new color and you're just going to grab it with your hook and bring it through both loops, and then you're going to do a single crochet, chain 1, Then you're going to tie your knot. Then you're going to move your yarn marker up where you left off, and you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch around with your new color. Now if you wanted to place the magnet, here I went ahead and just did 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4 of 1 single crochet in every stitch. And now your magnet has a back side to it that goes through the tabs. So you have those 2 tabs on it. And then also you have the other end that snaps together. So you're going to take the one side and take off that back portion of the magnet, and you're going to put the magnetized piece onto the side where you want it on the hand, and then just turn the work inside out. Then you're going to place that piece on there, and then you're going to fold the tab in, actually out. Fold it out to hold in place. So if you have small kids, of course, you don't want to do this part, just to make sure that you won't have like a choking hazard or anything like that. But for older kids, this is a nice fun feature that you can have, and it holds in place really well. Now you're just going to go ahead and finish. We're going to do a total of 6 rows of single crochet before we start closing. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more rows and then come back and I'll show you how to close it. Alright, after you've finished your 6 rows of 1 single crochet in every stitch, go ahead and stuff the arm with your pillow stuffing, and then go ahead and get your yarn marker and place it right where you left off. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to do your decrease. So you go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for your decrease. And then just keep doing that around back to the yarn marker and then come back. Now go ahead and move your yarn marker up and do 3 more rows of 1 single crochet into every stitch around. So 1 single crochet into every stitch around for 3 rows and then come back. Now you're going to go ahead and do slip stitches until you've closed the arm. Just make sure that you put enough stuffing in there. Skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook for slip stitches. And you're just going to slip stitch until it's closed. And then once you've closed it, go ahead and yarn over, pull enough yarn through to bury into the work. And then go ahead and make the other arm the same way. And when you get to the single crochet rows, come back and I'll show you how I put the other magnetized portion of it on the hand. Okay, so now I have my second arm, and I have the other end of the arm. I'm just going to line them up to see where I need to place my magnet, and then just place it onto the hand, and then just turn it inside out. And then you're just going to fold the tabs over. And just remember, these are tabs, so you don't want to have it be a choking hazard. So make sure that the person that you're making it for, you know, is not too young. And let me just turn this inside out more. That way I can fold it down on the yarn better. You can see how the tab just
Now
folds
I just
over.
want to make sure that the magnet is secure in place, so I'm going to go ahead and sew it. I'm just going to come in from the front and make sure you leave enough yarn to bury into your work, and then I'm going to crisscross across the magnet. And just make sure that your yarn is out of the way so it doesn't get sewn into the work. And this will just help secure the magnet in place. But again, you just want to be real careful. You still don't want to trust it with someone, a child that's too young, in case it does come off. But when you take the tapestry needle and sew the yarn, crisscrossing it across, it helps to secure it in place a little bit better. So finish sewing that on, and then come back and we'll finish sewing the hand. Now, once I turned it inside out, I was able to sew on the tabs with my yarn to secure it even more. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. And then once I have it secured how I like it, then I can just take the yarn ends and then just bury it inside the arm. So go ahead and bury your yarn ends and then come back. And actually you're just going to go ahead and finish the arm just like you did the other arm. And then you're going to make the legs the same way except without the magnet. And then come back and we'll sew them on the body. Alright, so you should be back and you should have your two legs done as well as your two arms. Now we're just going to take the two arms and put the magnet together, and then take your tapestry needle with the 100% cotton white yarn, and you're going to position the arms in place. Once you have the arms in place on the body, you're going to pinch the body and the arms together. Take your tapestry needle, go through the arm and the body out through the other arm. And make sure that you leave enough yarn on the other side for tying a knot, and then just go about a stitch over
on the arm, and you want to go back through and then come out through the other arm, about a stitch also on the other side. And then just come through with your tapestry needle. And then you want to open up the body and the arm, and then you just tie a knot. And then just check and make sure that the arms are still at a good level. And then after you've tied your knot, you're going to want to press the arms and the body together again, and you want to go through a second time to the other side, just to make sure that it's nice and secure and won't come off easily. And then you're going to come back again, just go a stitch over, and then go back through to the other side. And again, you're just going to puff out the body and the arms, and then tie another knot. And then once you have it sewn on like that, then you're going to take your tapestry needle, go in right where you tied the knot, and then come out anywhere on the arm. And then cut it. So go ahead and bury your loose yarn ends. And then you're going to do the same thing with the feet. You're going to position the feet on the body. Make sure you have the right color yarn on the right side. And then once you have the feet placed where you want them, you're going to pinch together the body and then go through with your tapestry needle, and then come back and we'll see the finished product. Now, isn't that the cutest thing you have ever seen? It's got magnet hands and legs that will allow the bear to sit. So now I'm going to show you how to do the flower as well as the heart that he holds. Now we're going to make the heart, and I'm going to use my N or 9mm crochet hook and some pink, soft pink yarn, and I'm actually going to combine it with my cotton yarn to give it some thickness. So I'm going to crochet with both, and we're going to start with the magic circle. So you're just going to drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, stabilize with your thumb, and wrap it around your 2 middle fingers twice and hold it with your pinky and your thumb. And then you're going to take your crochet hook, go under those loops, you're going to bring up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull the yarn through that loop for your slip knot. And then you're going to go into the magic circle again, you're going to bring up a loop, you have 2 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and go through both for a single crochet, and then you're going to do 2 more, chain 2 more. 1, 2. So that's going to count as your first double crochet, and you're going to do 3 more double crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to yarn over, go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2, and we're going to do 2 more. So 2 more double crochet, then you're going to do 3 half double crochet into the magic circle. So you're going to yarn over, go into the magic circle, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3 for a half double crochet, and you're going to do 2 more. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and you're going to do 3 half double crochet again. 1, 2, and you could scoot your work over in the magic circle to make room. Do 1 more. And then you're going to do 4 double crochet into the magic circle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to take your forefinger and thumb and just hold it at the base. Actually, go ahead and scoot everything over, then hold it at the base. And then you see how you have these 2 loops, the pink and the 100% yarn, the white color, and then the other 2. You're going to pull on one of these 2 groups of 2. If it doesn't close, pull on the other one until it does close. That one's working. Then you take your loose yarn ends and pull on those to completely close. And I still have a little bit of a hole in the center of the heart, but that's okay. We'll close it after we're done. So now we're going to slip stitch, go into that first stitch of that first double crochet that we did. And then you're going to yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook. This last one might be a little bit tough. And then you're going to finish off. You're going to yarn over and then pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And then you're just going to turn, actually you're going to take your tapestry needle and then just put, I'm just going to put 1 on there for now. And then take that loose yarn end and go right through the center. And do the same thing with your other yarn. Just go right through the center. And then turn the work over. And you're going to take and pull on your loose yarn ends until the circle's closed. Let me find the 2 that I had. There, and then you close that center. You can see how you have a beautiful heart that you've created. So go ahead and make 2 of these and then come back and I'll show you what to do next. Now you're going to take your heart and just cut those loose yarn ends after you've tied a knot, and then put both of those wrong sides together so that the right side is showing on the outside. And then you're going to take your yarn on your tapestry needle and you're just going to sew just the outer stitch of the 2 hearts together. Leave enough for tying your knot, and you're only going to sew 2 of the stitches together. So go ahead and tie your knot. And then you can cut your loose yarn end. And you're going to do the same thing on the opposite side.
And then go ahead and bury your loose yarn ends, and then come back. I just wanted to show you how I buried one of my loose yarn ends. I go into the inside, and then on the inside I just take my tapestry needle through the inside, and then I just cut the loose yarn end on the inside. And go ahead and do that with all your loose yarn ends. Then you can take your gift card and just kind of, whatever gift card that you're giving, you can squeeze it in between the heart, and then you can have the bear hold the gift card and the heart. If you want a flower for your bear, we're going to first make a slip knot. So you're going to fold your yarn over on itself to form a loop, and I'm going to use my J crochet hook or 6mm crochet hook. Just put it right through the loop, then hold it at the base with your middle finger and thumb. Just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, go through that loop, and then you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to go back into that first chain that you did. So take your hook and go back into that first chain, and then you can hold your work like this. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops for a slip knot, and then you just made a circle. Go into the center of the circle, bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through both loops for a single crochet, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Go back into the center of the circle, do a single crochet, and you're going to do that 5 times. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the center of the circle. That's 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet. That's 4, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the center of the circle. That's 5. Then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do a slip stitch into that first single crochet that you did. Yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then go ahead and finish off, yarn over, and then pull enough yarn through for sewing the cute little flower onto your bear. And here I just want to give you a close-up of the bear, and this is what it looks like from behind. And the legs move. And then so do the arms, up and down. And here we have the magnet. So the arms have magnets on them. And then here's the heart with the gift card that the bear holds.